Hey guys, I want to do a quick update from that last video I made about having a conundrum. Which path should I follow? Should I attack or continue on with my original plan? Well, I went with doing my original plan. I went ahead and attacked Florida and swept up through uh, Central America here and on into the southern border of Mexico here. Took over pieces and parts of it, and I just finished up with everything that was an enemy to it. I've sent some Stukas over here to try and wipe out a couple of planes that are taking refuge on the neutral country there, which is Mexico City territory. Just got one last territory here. I've got a scout car that's going to come down and take it. And then the only thing I would have to worry about is, if randomly some of the territory I took over goes into revolt, and I'll just have to go and reconquer it probably tomorrow. All right, so here's the situation. We had New York and 2 or 3 other guys that was in the coalition, and Cuba and New York were allies in this thing. Well, Cuba has since gone computer controlled due to inactivity. So I had just finished up with Florida, and you can see I managed to take it over, and none of the other areas had gone aggressive to me. So what I decided to do was pull back, go ahead and clear out Cuba, and it's got a couple of territories over here on the Haiti side, and then on the Dominican Republic side I'll just go ahead and take it over. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 territories, and then this part of it is actually New York took it over. I'll just leave it alone. I'm not going to pick a fight with that guy right now. I don't know how he's going to react to me taking over Cuba, since that's in this coalition, but again, it's computer controlled, so he may just let me have it. And once he sees percentage wise just how much territory I've taken over, he may just quit this game, or just go out to inactivity or something. I don't know. Why don't we take a quick look in diplomacy, and we'll go by score. As you can see, I'm at the top with 260 points. Minnesota has 210, and Oregon has 200. So New York is down there at 170. It'd take him a while to catch up. I think his armies kind of ran out of steam there, because I haven't really seen him, other than that little part of Dominican Republic right here. I haven't seen him really conquer anything new up here. So maybe he's building up for another push. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and clear this out. Oh, Mexico City just declared. Look at that. They just declared against me. And that's a kind of unfortunate for them, because look what I've got sitting here coming up to the front here. I've got all my railroad guns. So I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, and 4 is 10. So I've got 10 railroad guns just right here at the border ready to take over. So they probably did that in response to me sending my Stukas over and attacking this 2 fighter squadron. But that's okay. At some point I was going to sweep up here anyway. But in the meantime, Cuba is going to fall here probably within the next day and a half. I'm taking it down with a couple of battleships. Battleships are inevitable. There's nothing on here that can attack my battleships. They may have some airplanes or bombers, I don't know. But it doesn't matter. This will just be a slow death, Uh, you can see like this tank division here. He's got a whole bunch of tanks and stuff, but nothing that can attack my units, my battleship units. So at 239.2 hit points, it may take 2 days to whittle him down with a battleship. It takes forever. But that's okay. I've got nothing but time. And Cuba is not really a threat. As you can see, I've already taken over 3 territories here, including Havana. So, whatever this is, infantry, and he's got 2 hit points left. So, my little scout car here is going to wipe him out and just continue on. And as I clear territory with my battleships, I'll just work my way on down and take the island over. So I'm in no rush. You can see I'm even using a submarine over here as a scout. And I can see they've got a little light tank brigade there. 20 hit points. So that's not going to take long to kill. But you can see several of these other territories here, there's nothing on them. So there's a lot of empty areas there on Cuba. So my scout car will not take long in clearing it out. So right now I've got a scout car coming over here to Nueva Gerona, which is Cuban owned, and then I already had Grand Cayman, but I just took over Jamaica here a couple hours ago, and so that scout car, I'm going to bring him up to Cuba. And again, I'll take this stuff over at my leisure. I've got a unit headed over here. I'm going to go ahead and stop him there until I get a battleship over to clear out this infantry unit. Again, I'm in no hurry, and the units I'm using are infantry units and things. They're not my main armament, which is always railroad guns. That's what I prefer, scout cars and railroad guns. To me, it's the most effective units. Scout cars can see all units, including hidden ones, and then the railroad cars just sweep up and destroy everything in their path. So that's what I'll continue to do. But here's the other thing, and you can notice by the projected path of several units I have here, and several of them are railroad guns. I conquered Hawaii. I'm bringing up that infantry unit up here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let them set offshore here till they all get up here. Now this will take a couple of days for all these units to get up here. And I'll stage them here, and then when I'm ready, I'm going to come over and attack Oregon. Now this is what, myself and others have colloquially termed the old banana in the tailpipe. Another way of looking at it is dangling keys in the left hand and punching somebody with the right hand. You get their attention over here, and then you hit them where they're not looking. So that's what I've kind of done. I totally ignored Oregon's declaration of war against me. Made no reaction at all to him. Didn't suddenly attack him or anything else. I didn't attack North California, which is part of his coalition, and I had a chance to, because North California has a cruiser sitting off of Panama Canal here, but I've got 4 submarines just sitting directly underneath it, and I've got the destroyer just a short distance away from his cruiser. So he thinks he's covering me and he doesn't have to worry about me, but he doesn't know that there's submarines there. So, and you can see I've got a railroad gun that's embarking to transport ship, and it'll come on up here and sit offshore here. So I'm going to build up an initial strike force. Kind of what my plan was to get at least 10 railroad guns and send them up there and go ahead and attack Oregon. Over the last couple of days, Oregon has taken over this big section of Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana. And I think he's had some stuff revolt to other countries here or whatever. And then I'll pan back. North California has taken over some of this. So I know that both Oregon and North California are active players, and they're still continuing to do some stuff. And that's fine, because that tells me the bulk of their army is over here in the east of their territory. And if they're doing like most players do, they don't really have a lot in the areas that they've already conquered. He's probably got a few, he might even have some naval units over here. Well, I've got plenty of naval units, and I will divert them up there and take care of that if I have to. But I've got options that he may not have even thought about, and that's like West British Columbia here is computer controlled. You know, if I have to, for whatever reason, avoid his west coast here and any defenses, because you can see there's a whole, he's got most of the cities in his territory are right here along the west coast, short distance. So once I strike and strike hard in several areas, it will not be that difficult to take his cities. And once I've done that, if he's still using these as his manufacturing production bases for his units, that's really going to cripple him when it comes to replenishing his units or raising a defending army. And the bonus is, if I take a city over while he's developing a unit, hey, that's a unit for me for free, as long as I can retain possession of that city. So he's got all these other cities out here, and most players, in my experience, do not repair anything in the cities unless it's, you know, something simple, very low cost to repair it, like and produces a cheap unit, like maybe an infantry, you know, like a infantry barracks or something like that. But most players don't even waste resources on that kind of stuff. They just continue to gobble up territory as fast as they can. I don't know how this guy plays, and I won't know until I get over here. So I kind of had a long-term plan in effect. This is kind of a new thing I've started doing, is that I never used to use an Air Force. And so now what I've done is I've started using long-range strategic bombers. And you can see I've got one right here. I'll pan back a little bit, and you can see that I actually built this one in conquered territory. I think it was Belize City is where I built it. But anyway, and I'm airport hopping him, airstrips and everything that I built or conquered. And I'm hopping him over here basically to get up here to like Puerto Rico area and stuff. And so now that I've taken over a couple of territories, as soon as I take over San Juan, which is still under Dominican Republic control, and I sent my naval bombers, I sent them up as scouts. So I've got them on patrol here just so I can see the units. I am neutral right now with Dominican Republic, so you know I can fly over them with no problem, and they're not shooting back. So I can see he's just got a single infantry unit here in San Juan, so that's an easy kill. And this is where I'm staging my strategic bombers, is over here. Now I'm going to pull back. Let me target it and pull back so you can see the territory it covers. Okay, that is a huge territory, and I don't even have it upgraded all the way. This is level 3. I'm going to pull back further, and you can see the distance in relation to the full map of just how big this territory covers. So let's say right here at the Bahamas is the border. You can see the border right there at the Bahamas. Now if we were to flip this thing, that means the new boundary if I was stationed in, let's say, Miami. The new boundary for my territory for the strategic bombers is almost to the eastern border of what Oregon has right now. So what I've done is I've got a couple, 3 airports, strips and things under construction right now. Now that only takes a couple, 3 hours at most, and those will be built. And because I don't have to have them very close together because of the range, this incredible range on this unit, I've got one down near Miami, and then I've got one up here at the western tip of the Panhandle. Pensacola area. So I've got one up here near the Pensacola area. So once those are built, I will be basically over here in the Colorado, Nebraska, South Dakota area. It's got somewhere in here is going to be the limit of my range. Now I can extend that by easily doing research and to extend the range and everything. I don't need to do that. If I'm already close to half or 2/3 of the size of the United States with these things, by the time I conquer a few more territories, like for example Alabama, okay, and then put a couple of airports here and there, I'll have basically half or 2/3 of the United States within the range of those strategic bombers. So I've got scouting and I've got bombing capabilities with those bombers. Given his natural progression, Oregon, I'm assuming is going to clean some of this stuff up. They'll push into, looks like, Illinois, possibly. Since Minnesota is their big enemy, he's in a different coalition. What I was assuming they would do was sweep south. Just go ahead and start working on Arizona and New Mexico. They're both computer controlled, and it wouldn't be picking a fight with Illinois or Minnesota, which are human controlled. So, but that's just a guess. They might swing north. There's not much going on up here. They're all computer controlled, but it doesn't look like they've done anything to start conquering territory. So he's either got to go north or south. Now maybe he's going to do the old banana and tailpipe to me. Maybe he's building up for thrust, and he'll come down and try to take over the north half here of the Amazons and stuff here in South America, while I'm traipsing about doing other things. Well, I'm not a total fool. I still have units down here. I've got several infantry units here just waiting around. There's 10 right there alone. Here's a single. There's an anti-aircraft. Here's 7 infantry guys here. And then I have active units being built in these cities. So, as well as some of the other stuff I've conquered. So I've got stuff that can react already in place. And again, with the range of these bombers, if he were to attack up here in Venezuela and try to take over some of the, Caracas or something, I've got bombers within range. And he can't get me. And the other thing is, if they get damaged and I want to get them repaired, I can overfly him because I have airports spread out around here. I can overfly him and get back to my home territory and park them and let them heal up some of their hit points. It takes a while, but I can do that. Or I can just build new ones. And since I've got constantly building new airplanes and railroad guns and ships and scout cars primarily, I'm not really worried about it. If he does try to do something like that, he's going to have to bring one hell of a force, to do enough damage to me that I would even worry about it. And what he doesn't know is I'm willing to give up even my core territory. I'm willing to give up all of South America. I've already got Florida. Florida is so easy. I'm going to have Cuba here within a day or two. You can see how I've already got Central America. Now I'm working into Mexico. Just not worried about if I get attacked in this area. Would it hurt? Yes. It'll knock me down in the score. It'll knock my economy. It'll hurt my economy. But remember, I'm coming up here to attack Oregon. So I would just flip-flop. You know, he can make this Oregon, and I'll make this Colombia up here. It'll be Nueva Colombia as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, that's the status. That's what I'm going to do. And you can see I've already got stuff in works. They're already on the way. Multiple units. So far my plans are progressing pretty good. I'm pulling a couple units and another battleship down here just to kind of speed this along, taking over Cuba. But you know, once that happens, then I'm going to have an army and a navy with nothing to do. So at that point, I'll decide, do I want to just sweep over to Mexico and just conquer it faster, or do I want to hit the southern United States and push up from there? Do I want to do, you know, Canada? What do I want to do? I've got an army headed for Pacific Coast. I've got an army already here, South Mexico, and I've got a separate army and navy over here in Cuba. So I've got 3 armies basically that are independent of each other, and 2 of the 3 are within range of my Air Force for assistance, scouting and bombing. So I'm not really worried about those guys. But because I always have a plan B to everything, that's the way I live my life. A couple, 3 days ago, I sent off this little convoy up here, and it's regular artillery, 4 level 1s and 3 level 2s, and I've got them headed for the capital of Nunavut. God, I can't pronounce that. Tikirajulak? I don't know. Indian Eskimo kind of language, so I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. But anyway, that's the only capital city that whole territory has. But what's fun about it is you get plenty of resources when you take over these territories. Not a lot of manpower, but plenty of resources. So anyway, there's an update, and you can see how the big conundrum I had, how it's kind of played out. You know, I had thought it might go that way. I made a decision not to attack Oregon, but to strengthen my area of control. That's what I went with, and it's a good thing because now I'm prepared to continue conquering the world, but also to make an example of Oregon up here. I can still get my little petty revenge for him just declaring war on me out of nowhere and unnecessarily. So, and I noticed since he did that Alaska, who was part of the North California, Oregon, I think it was Alberta also, coalition, he dropped out. He's trying to form hit us all. Yeah, so he left best in the West. He left their coalition. And I even saw Oregon had taken over briefly Perryville up here. I noticed it stayed like that for a couple of days there. They had some kind of falling out. But Alaska has since taken over that section again, but has not expanded. So I don't know what Alaska's doing. Maybe they're just building up their army. That's really not the smart thing to do long term, because it takes such a long time to build up your units, to do any improvement research on new units you might want to use. Using resources you're only gaining from your home territory. You have to conquer in order to speed up and bump those numbers up. So your numbers, might be 100 an hour or whatever, 200 at whatever that number is from your starting territory. Well, those are rookie numbers. You got to bump those numbers up. So you take over territory, and you can see from mine, I'm up here 700, was at 869 in manpower, 563 in metal, 651 here in oil, 715 in rare materials. So my lowest is metal. I really need to get that up. But, those are much better numbers for building an army and expanding and conquering. Even just doing nothing but building up existing units, not researching improvements. Those are strong armies, yes, in the end, but with my combined arms and better materials and units, I'll wipe him out. I mean, it's just not gonna. When you've got 10 railroad guns coming at you, 2 or 3 across on whatever the battlefront is, what are you going to send against me that's even going to reach them? I'm doing a hell of a lot of damage. 200-300 points of damage. Every 30 minutes or more between 3 stacks of 10. I don't care if you got 5, heavy tanks or something. In an hour, they're gone. And you haven't even engaged my unit yet, and I've already killed you. So, and even like heavy tanks are expensive. Well, okay, let's go the opposite way. Let's go 50 or 60 or 70 infantry units. Well, level 1 or level 2 infantry units, as many hit points as you're going to have. They're not armored, so my long range artillery is just going to eat them up. They're slow and they're not going to get to me. What other unit are you going to use? It's just not a good idea to try to do that unless you're part of a coalition. Then there's some strategies where that would be okay. But for example, I'll give you a quick example. If you're in a coalition, let's say you're Alaska, and just like this, Northern California, Oregon, right? Here's what I would do. These guys would conquer inland, but as Alaska, I would concentrate the majority of my forces into Navy. And then I could control all this coastline up here. I wouldn't have to worry about somebody backdooring me. And then at my leisure, I could slowly conquer, for example, the Yukon, which is very easy to beat. It's got 1 or 2 cities in it. Let's see, Whitehorse, is that it? It's only got Whitehorse, so it's very easy to beat. Takes a while because it's, long distances, big territory, but easy to beat. So that would give you the extra resources, and you could also develop a scouting air force, just like I'm using long-range bombers. He could do that too, and then he would just simply fly them back and forth between the front and whatever enemy they were up against, so that he could be revealing his coalition members. They would see the units that they're about to prepare for, and so they could adjust their armies appropriately for that. Is it big empty territory? Send a scout car, capture that stuff real quick. Is it a big army you got to go against? Okay, we'll group our forces and concentrate them and go in them and do a tank rush. So anyway, there are ways, there are situations where playing it that way are appropriate. But when it's, in this case, Alaska's on his own, he's not going to win this thing. He's not even going to be in 5th place, let's say. As it stands now, I don't know, where is he? Alaska. So he's way down here. You know, he's on the second page, so to speak, of the score sheet here. So he's just not going to do well. He's more or less wasted his time. So the smart play would have been to just stay in a coalition with those two, help them out, you know, with the Navy, guard their coastline so they didn't have to worry about it. And then he doesn't even have to check in every day, really. You know, go start a different game somewhere else and concentrate on it. But kind of put this one in cruise control, and he'd still be helping, and he would still get a share of the prize, you know, second, third place or whatever. But he didn't do that. So anyway, all right, I got to end this video. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, any comments, go ahead and do them in the comment section. I read all of them, and I respond to like 99% of them, unless they're just stupid or insulting. So thanks, and something just happened. Oh, I conquered all the territory, and then it looks like one of them revolted back. So now I got to send my little scout car over there and recapture it. But that's pretty good for that much territory, and only one country revolted back. So I'm happy with that. That's an easy win for me. Yeah, province lost. It revolted back to South America. So cool. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.